Slides are visible, right? Okay. Good afternoon. Uh, Good afternoon. So today I am going to start the module 1 topics which are covered from the third textbook. That is software testing by Aditya P. Mathur. So in the last class I covered the topics which are from the first textbook. Okay, and the whatever the topics I'm covering from today onwards are from the third textbook, that is software testing, fundamentals of software testing by Aditya P. Mathur. And from this textbook, you are going to study about some of the topics such as software quality, and the next one is requirements, behavior and correctness versus reliability, testing and debugging. So these four topics are taken from this particular textbook, and the sections are from 1.2 to 1.5. So the sections are 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 and 1.5. Four topics which are from the textbook Software Testing by Aditya P. Mathur. Okay, so first we'll start with the software quality. So what is software quality? Why do we require the software quality? Right. So first one. So here we are discussing about the software quality. So let us consider an example that whenever you are going to buy the product, what you are going to look into? You're going to look into the quality of the product, right? So whether you're consider the software product or hardware product or any type of products, but before buying those products, first you are looking into the quality of the product, right? For example, if you consider the best example is mobile. So whenever you're going to purchase the mobile, you are going to first you're going to know about the quality of the mobile, then you're going to buy that product. So then how will you check the quality? Or you'll compare the mobile of different companies, and you're checking the quality of the mobile of each company, then finally you decides to buy the mobile, right? Similarly here we are talking about the software quality, right? uh, so once again, quality, it's a belongs to the software. Okay, means whenever you are going to purchase some app or some software, so first you are going to check the quality of the software before buying it, right? So all we want is what we want, the software quality, right? So there exist several definitions for the software quality, and the one quantity attribute might be important for one user, and the other quantity, and that is software quality quantity, may be different for other user. Suppose let us consider that you how many of you are there now? Six people are there, and each one of you are having the different quality attributes, right? So if you consider the best example, once again mobile, so some may need the high speed mobile, and some may need what? Some may need the clarity, right? So clarity in the mobile, or some may need the high quality camera, right? So that you will get the better quality of the picture, and some may need the video quality, it should be in a good quality, like that. So each one of the user may have different quality attributes. Understood, all of you? So each user may have different quality attributes, and quality attributes changes from one user to another user, and hence we will have the several definitions for the software quality. And the software quality is a multi-dimensional quantity. Okay, software quality is a multi-dimensional quantity, and this is measurable, means software quality is a measurable one, and it is having the multi-dimensional quantities. Understood? So now let us see the quality attributes of the software quality. So we have two types of software quality attributes, or there exist two types of quality attributes. One is called as the static quality attribute, and the second one is the dynamic quality attribute. We'll see what is a static quality attribute and dynamic quality attribute. So first we'll see what is a static quality attribute. Static quality attribute refers to the actual code and related documentation. Understood? So static quality attribute refers to the actual code and the related documentation. And the static quality attributes includes structured, maintainable, testable code as well as the availability of the correct and complete documentation. So the static quality attributes consisting of what? Structured, maintainable, testable code and also the availability of correct and complete documentation. So why the correct and complete documentation is required? So now let us consider that you purchase the car by seeing those the features of the car, right? So you'll purchase the car by seeing the features. So once you purchase the car and you experiencing the very good features of the ar, but if you're doubt in something, right, handling the brake or something else, right, then you want to verify the user manual, right? You want to check the user manual or you want to see it in the user manual. And if the user manual is not properly documented or it is not in a good quality, then what happens? Even though the car is having so many features, but that cannot be visible to the user because uh, for the new user, the if the user doesn't know the quality or that doesn't know the features of the car, then how we can go through that? By studying the user manual, you can he can see what are the features available in the car. Or if you consider once again the mobile, so how you are going to know the features of the mobile? So by going through the user manual, right? So if the user manual is not in a good condition or it is not properly documented, then for the user it is very difficult to understand the features of the mobile. Hence, in order to have or in order to get the knowledge of the features which are available in the product, user manual plays a very important role. So if we consider with the software, right, suppose you have purchased one software, let us consider that you have purchased the MS Office software, and you have to know the features or what are the characteristics of that software or what are the functionalities it can perform, that you want to know. So then how we are going to know that? With the help of the user manual, right? So user manual is available with each and every product. If the user manual is not correct and it is not the complete documentation, then you will not going to check or verify the functionalities of the software. And hence the user manual plays a very important role, and hence the user manual should be in a correct and complete in the form of a correct and complete documentation. Understood? And it is structured means what? It should be properly organized. So if you consider any software, the software is having number of functionalities or number of features, and if those are not properly organized or not properly structured, then it is very difficult for the user to understand. And hence the user manual should be properly structured, and it should be easily maintainable or easily manageable, so that the user can use it again and again. Testable. So as we know that once the software product is developed, before delivering it to the user, the software product should be properly tested. Why we are going for the testing process? To know whether that software product is performing the functionality according to the user requirement or not. So for that purpose, we are going for the testing. So who will test the product? The testing team is there, and the testing team is responsible for testing the software product. And as you know that, so some one team will develop the product and the other team will test the product. So in order to test the product, the testing team must use the user manual, right? So or it is using the documentation. which is related to the software development, right? So before testing the product, the testing team will go through the documentation, and based on that it is going to test the product. So if there is no proper documentation is there, then we say that the software product is incomplete product. Understood? So the static quality attributes refer to the actual code and related documentation. Actual code means the code which is implemented are used for developing the software product, and the related document is nothing but the user manual related to that software product. And the static quality attributes includes structured, maintainable, testable code, as well as the availability of the correct and completed documentation. So I explained why do we require the correct and complete documentation, right? So suppose let us consider that if the document is poorly documented, means if the user manual is poorly documented, then what happens? A poorly documented piece of code or the document is very hard, it is very difficult to understand. So if the user manual is not complete or it is not properly documented, then it is very difficult to understand and it is very difficult to modify that documentation. And the poorly structured code also difficult to modify and difficult to test. And hence in order to perform the testing or in order to modify the code, the document should be properly the document should be in a properly and structured manner, and it should be a complete documentation. Then only the testing is possible, and also modification or the updation of the code is also easy. If it is not properly documented, then it is very difficult. So this is about the static quality attributes. Next we'll move on to the dynamic quality attributes. Dynamic quality attributes relate to the behavior of the application while in use. Okay, what are the quality attributes relate to? Dynamic quality attributes relate to the behavior of the application. Behavior of the application is nothing but the functionality of the application when we are using that application. Understood? So if we consider the MS Office example, then the functionality of the MS Office while it is using, so that is called as the behavior of the application in use. So dynamic quality attributes relates to software reliability, or the dynamic quality attributes include software reliability, correctness, completeness, consistency, usability, and the performance. So these are nothing but the dynamic quality attributes. So what are dynamic quality attributes? Reliability, correctness, completeness, consistency, usability, and performance. All of you are following, right? I'm audible, right? To all of you? Yes, Sharanya?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So we'll see the dynamic quality attributes: reliability, correctness, completeness, consistency, usability, and performance in detail one by one. So first we'll see what is software reliability. So when we consider or when we say that the software is reliable, so any answer from you? Yes, Gaurav, when we say that the software is reliable, or anybody?
Ma'am, when there is no error and it is
Yes, and failure free operation.
failure
So
free.
yes, so when you're using some software, if it is operating without any failures, then we say that software is reliable. Suppose you're using the MS Word to type the document and all, right? And when you're using that MS Word again and again, and if no problem occurs, no failure occurs, then you say that the MS Word is reliable. Understood, all of you? What is reliable, or when the software is said to be reliable? Clear? So reliability refers to the probability of failure free operations. Okay. So reliable means the probability of failure free operations. Then we say that the product is reliable. If you consider the hardware product or the software product, if the product is operating without any failures, then we say that that product is reliable. Understood? Any doubt in the definition? Reliable. But in theory, we say that the software or the hardware is reliable. Reliable means zero failures. But in practical, it is very difficult to obtain the zero failures. Okay, understood all of you? So if you consider the mobile, when you're using again and again and again, so at some point of time, the mobile may fail in operating. So that is in practical situations, we can't expect the 0% failures. So, but it is in a book, or we can simply say that ideally, so software or the hardware should be reliable one, but in practical, it is very, very difficult to obtain. But we say that at least to some percentage, if the product is operating failure free, then we are some meaning to the reliability. Understood? So whatever the product you consider, all the products are experiencing some failures during its lifetime, right? So hence, even though it is ideally we say that it is reliable, but it is not achievable in practical manner. Or practical, it is very impossible that 0% of failures occurs. And we'll see some of other definitions for reliability. So the software reliability is the probability of failure-free operation of a software over a given time interval and under given conditions. So this is another definition for software reliability. So what is the software reliability? Software reliability is the probability of failure free operation of a software over a given time interval and under given conditions. So then this is very suitable to the normal operating conditions, right? So here we are considering the reliability of the software for the given time interval. So now we'll consider the software reliability for a day or for a week or for a month. If in the given time duration, if it is in operating without any failures, then we say that that product is reliable. So under given conditions means they will also define the set of input conditions. So if the system is working in a correct manner or it is performing its function for the given set of input functions, then we say that the software is reliable. Or if you consider when you written the program, let us consider that you have written the program for addition of two integer numbers. So what is the condition given? So here to add the two integer numbers, and you have written the program, and the program is tested by giving the two different integer numbers. Suppose if I give two floating point numbers, what happens to your program will not give the output. Why? Because you have written the program for adding two integer numbers, and if I give the two floating point numbers, obviously your program will not work, right? Then we can't say that your program is reliable. Why? Because for the given input condition your program is working fine, because the requirement we specified that what, so for the given integer numbers will be added. But if the user gives the two floating point numbers, then the input condition itself is wrong, then obviously your program will not give the output. Then we can't say that software is reliable. So we say that the your program or the software is reliable only for the given input conditions. Okay, only for the given input conditions and for the given time duration. That is one definition for the software reliability. And the second definition for software reliability is the probability of failure free operation of software in its intended environment. Okay, it is intended environment. Understood? So probability of failure-free operation of a software in its intended environment. Here the environment refers to the software and the hardware elements required to execute the application. Understood? So here what are the software requirements required? It may be the operating system or any other applications. Similarly, the hardware requirements may be the different hardware components. Okay, so this is another example. So software reliability is the probability of failure-free operation of a software in its intended environment. This environment may include the software or the hardware components. If the suitable software and the hardware components are given for the execution of the program, and if it is working in a correct manner, then we say that that software is reliable. So these are the other definitions for software reliability. Understood? Any doubt in software reliability? Yes, so Sachin. Sachin.
No, ma'am.
Okay, understood.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
of you understood? Okay, next we'll move on to the other dynamic quality attributes. Next one is the correctness. Next one is the correctness. Let's see if it's not working. Yes, the next one is the correctness, right? What is the meaning of correctness? Or when we say that the software quality is the correct product, or the software product is the correct product. So correctness refers to the correct operation of an application, and is always referenced with some artifacts, or always referenced with the given specifications or given conditions. Okay, so correctness refers to what? Correct operation of the product. So if you consider the mobile, so mobile operation correctness means what? Correct operation of the mobile for the given specific conditions. So in the mobile, if you consider is making a call to your friend or to your relative, etc. That one we want. So once again, using mobile, you are making the call, but to make the call, you need the software, right? There, you need the software to make the calls, right? So our requirement is, I want to make a call, right? First one, that is just audio message transmissions, or audio message exchanging between you and the your friend. That is the one condition. Or video, through video call I can make the call to somebody else. Okay, these are the two requirements I want. And one more requirement is, I want to connect to more than one person in a single call. So just like the conference call, right? So in a conference call, what I can do, I can connect more than to one user, or to more than to one friend or the relative. So these specifications I want in mobile. So my mobile is nothing but the hardware product, right? My mobile should support the support for making the call to somebody else, a single one. Or I want the the conference call, as well as I want my mobile should support the video call also. So for that I need the software product, right? So software is for dialing, right? So the software should also support the conference call as well as the video call or the single call. So then these are my specification. And if the product, whether it may be the mobile or if you consider the software product is working according to my requirements, then I say that the product is the correct product. Okay, or I say that the correctness of the operation is satisfied. So correctness refers to what? Correctness refers to the correct operation of an application. So if you consider in terms of the software, we'll say that the correctness refers to the correct operation of the application. So here the application is what? A dialer. Okay. So by using that application, I'm going to call my friend, or I want to call more than one friend in a single call by setting up the conference call. Or if I want to make the video call, all these specification must be satisfied there. Then I say that the product is a correct product. So hence correctness refers to the correct operation of the application. And then how the tester test the correctness. So how? Because the product is developed. Once the product is developed, the testing team will test that, right? So the testing team will check the correctness of the product by collecting the requirements. So specifications are already defined, right? Requirement specifications are already defined, and the testing team makes use those requirement specification and test the product whether that product is meeting all the requirements, specified requirements or not. So if the product has met all the required specifications, then we say that it is exhibiting the correctness. Understood? So the testing team decides that the product is operating in a correct manner. Okay, understood? So there we need the specification document for the testing team in order to test the product. So that is one side, that is the testing team will test the product, and the other side is the development organization. Suppose let us consider the software product is developed by some company, right? What that company will do, that company will select a team of actual users are the customers. Okay, so the company will select the actual users, team of actual user, and give that product to those users or to the customer to test the correctness of the product. And these customers will give the valid feedback to the developed company, so that according to the feedback from the users or the customers, then the company decides that the developed product is meeting the users requirement. Understood? So this is about the correctness. Next we'll move on to the completeness. So what is completeness? Completeness refers to the availability of all features listed in the requirements or in the user manual. So now let us consider that. So when you purchase the mobile, what you want in the mobile is you want the better quality camera. Okay, so you want a better quality, means the whatever the image you are taken through the camera should be a very clear images, right? Means what we can say, the clarity should be very high. And once again, so most of you are already experienced, right? So most of you are interested in taking the selfies, right? So then your camera or whatever the camera installed within the mobile should also support taking the selfies. That is another requirement. So the third person can take the picture through the camera, or you can take yourself the selfie, right? That is another requirement. If both the requirements are satisfied, then you say that the camera is the complete camera. So suppose you can take only the pictures, not it is, if it is not possible to take the selfies, then you say that the camera is not complete. Similarly, if you go for the software product, okay, so I will take the example of a calculator. So that calculator is available in your right mobile, or application or the software is available in your mobile or laptop or desktops, right? So what is the purpose of the calculator? By using the calculator, you can perform the different mathematical operations, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, or you can find the square root of the function or the square of the function. Similarly, you can find what the sign of the given value or cos value or the tan value, like that. So number of specifications you are going to list. If all are satisfied, and if all the functions you can perform through that calculator application, then you say that the calculation software or the calculation application is a complete application. Understood? So means whatever the requirements you have listed, all the requirements should be satisfied, and then we say that it is the complete product. Understand? And incomplete software means what? If one of the requirement is not implemented in the given product, then we say that the software is a incomplete software. So an incomplete software is the one that does not fully implement all the features required. So as I said example, if you want, if through the camera, if you can only take the picture, not the selfies, then you say that that application is the incomplete application, because one of that feature is not implemented at all. So if all the specified features are implemented, then we say that the product is a complete product. If one of the feature is not implemented, then we say that it is the incomplete software or the incomplete product. Understood once again? Any doubt? And here, one more definition is given for the completeness. So, completeness is defined with respect to the set of features. Okay, it is defined with the set of features, and those features may be the a subset of larger set of features. Okay, so those features may be the subset of larger set of features. Can you give any example for that? So here the completeness refers to the with respect to a set of features, then those features may be the subset of larger set of features. So once again, if I consider the calculator example, okay, so what is my major requirement? I want to perform all the mathematical operations. That is one set of feature, right? Along with that, I want to find the square root of a given number or the square of a given number. That is another requirement. Along with that, I want to convert the given uh, data into centimeters or inches or to feet. Suppose if I specify it as 24 inches and that should be converted into feet form. So 24 inches is equal to 1 feet, like that. Or if I'll give 1 feet, that should be converted into the inches. That is another requirement. So what we have? So we have different set of requirements. What are those? One set of requirement is performing a mathematical operations, and the second one is what I want to convert from inches to feet or feet to inches, and that is another requirement. One more requirement is I want to find the square root of a number or the square of a number. This is another requirement, right? And if you put all together, all the requirements, then it leads to a larger set of features or larger set of requirements, and these are within the larger set of requirements. So if I simply consider the finding the square root of a number or a square of a number, that is one set of feature which belongs to the larger set of features. Understood now? Okay. So completeness is defined with respect to a set of features that itself to be a subset of larger set of features that are to be implemented. Understood? So that is the completeness. Okay, completeness is defined with respect to the set of features that might itself be a subset of larger set of features that are to be implemented. And so this is about the completeness. Any doubt? Gaurav? Gaurav, understood completeness? ಗೌರವ್ ಏನ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಗೌರವ್? ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಡಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ. ಎನಿವೆ ಐ ಗಿವ್ ದ ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನೀವು ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೋ ಯೂಸ್. ಸೊ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಲಿಸನ್ ಟು ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್. And next we'll move on to the consistency. So finally it's left you. Okay, next we'll move on to the another dynamic quality attribute called as the consistency. So what is consistency? Consistency refers to adherence to a common set of conventions and assumptions. Okay, what is consistency? Consistency refers to adherence to a common set of conventions and assumptions. So we'll consider one example. Here all the buttons in the user interface might follow a common color coding convention. So let us consider the user interface when you're using your the office, or if you consider the example of a operating system. So you're using a Windows operating system, right? So when you switch on the system, you will get the Windows operating system, and in the Windows operating system you will have number of icons. All are displayed. So if we consider the consistency, and here we define that all those buttons should be visible in a common color coding. Okay, all the buttons or all the icons should be visible with the common color. If not, then we say that it is inconsistency. And one more best example is, so when you're constructing or creating the database, okay, so database, anyway, you already studied, right? What is a database and how we are constructing it. Now let us consider that I want the database of a software testing class students who are attending the classes. So how many of you are attending? Six people, students are attending, right? And I want the name, university, seat number of the student, and the year of admission, etc. And all these things I'm putting it in the form of a database. And in the database, I'm also going to include the date of birth of a student. Okay, so by using the common format. So if I use the common format to enter the date of birth of all the students, then we say that it is a consistent database. But whenever I'm entering the data, what the date of birth into the database, if it is accepting different formats, like so first, for example, I have written as 1/1/2020 as the date of birth. Okay, I use the slash in between the months, year, and the what date, right? I use the slash in between. But afterwards, for the second person, I'm entering it as a 1/1/2020. So it is that also it is accepting. And in the next case, I'm using 1:1:2020. If it is accepting, means what? So there is no particular format for the date of birth in the database. So it is accepting all the formats. Then we say that the database is not consistent. Okay, so consistency means what? So whenever I'm entering the date of birth for all the students, it must use the same format to enter the date of birth. Then we say that the database is a consistent database. So understood. So the consistency refers to the adherence to a common set of conventions and assumptions. Clear? So consistency refers to adherence to a common set of conventions and assumptions. So one best example is a database application. So in the database application, if the database application accepts the different date of birth formats, then it is inconsistent. But it should so when we say that it is consistent, when it is accepting the date of birth of a student in the single format for all the students, then we say that it is the consistent database. This is about the consistency. So the next dynamic quality requirement or the quality attribute is the usability. So what is the usability? Usability refers to the ease with which an application can be used. So this is an area in itself, and there exist techniques for usability testing. So usability refers to the easy with which an application can be used. Means whenever the application is developed and it is given to the user, and the user should easily operate with that application, then we say that it is the usability. So for example, if we consider the disk operating system, that is MS DOS, and the Windows operating system, which is more usable. So this Windows operating system is a more usability because there the graphical user interface is implemented, so that the user can easily can make use of the Windows operating system. But when you go with the MS Office, disk operating system, that is DOS, there, suppose if the user wants to create a file or wants to create the directory, every time he has to use the code. You need to remember the functions there in the disk operating system. But in the Windows operating system, simply just with the single click, either he can create the files or the directories, or simply he can remove the files or the directories. So here, with the Windows operating system, the user can easily use that application. Then we say that it is usable. So here, the psychology plays a very important role in design of techniques for the usability testing. Why? Because so each user is having different perspective about the usage of the product. Then, depending on the usability collected from users, the testing team can test the usability of the product. So next we'll move on to the last dynamic quality attribute that is called as the performance. So what the performance is? So performance refers to the time the application takes to perform a requested task. Suppose if you consider with the program, suppose we have written one program for uh, arranging the numbers either in the ascending order or in the descending order. Okay, you have written one program to arrange the given integer numbers either in the ascending order or in the descending order. Then when the input is given to the program, how much time it will take to give the output is called as the performance. Understood? So performance refers to the application takes to perform a requested task. So when you return the program for arranging the numbers in the ascending order, then the input is given to the program. How much time it will take to give the output is called as the performance. Understood? So performance refers to the application takes to perform a requested task. So when you return the program for arranging the numbers in the ascending order, then the input is given to the what is the task? The number should be arranged to give the output. Then we say that the program is performing in a better manner. Understood? And performance refers to the time the application takes to perform a requested task is called as the performance, right? So performance is considered as a non-functional requirement. So performance is considered as a non-functional requirement. Why it is called as a non-functional requirement? Because here, if you consider the example, it is specified in terms of this task must be performed. So what is the task I'll give? I will give the task as arranging the number either in the ascending order. Just consider that I want to arrange the numbers in ascending order. That is the task. Then that task must be performed at the rate of X unit of activity in 1 second. Means in 1 second how many numbers I need to arrange in the ascending order, that has to be performed, right? So here we are task performing the task, hence it is called as the non-functional requirement. So this task must be performed at the rate of X units of activity in 1 second on a machine running at a speed of Y having the Z gigabits of memory. Z gigabytes of memory. So if we consider 4 GB RAM, 4 gigabytes of memory, and the speed is it is running at a speed of 1000 rpm, let us consider. Then how many numbers it is arranging in the ascending order is called as at the rate of X units. So it has to arrange the numbers in a arrange the numbers in the ascending order at a speed of 1000 rpm by using a 4 gigabytes of memory. So like that we are giving the specification. Then according to that, if the system performs, then we'll say that the system performance is good or better. So it is a non-functional requirement. So this is about the quality, software quality and quality attributes. So far we have discussed what is software quality, and there are two types of software quality attributes: static quality attributes and dynamic quality attributes. So static quality attributes refers to the actual code and related documentation, whereas the dynamic quality attributes relate to the behavior or the functionality of the application while in use. So dynamic quality attributes includes the software reliability, correctness, completeness, consistency, usability, and the performance. So in the exam, they may ask what is software quality attributes. So you have to explain both static quality attributes and dynamic quality attributes. Or they can directly ask what are dynamic quality attributes, explain in detail. So what are dynamic quality attributes? Dynamic quality attributes are reliability, correctness, completeness, consistency, usability, and performance. You have to define these, or you have to explain these terms in detail for the dynamic quality attributes. Understood? Any doubt in the software quality? Yes, Suraj? Sharanya? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
No, ma'am.
shall I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next topic is requirements, behavior, and correctness. So the next topic is requirements, behavior, and requirements. So what are requirements? Behavior are nothing but the product functionality, and correctness, as I already explained. if we say that the product is correct, if it is operating in a correct manner, right? So first we'll see with the help of the requirements, then we'll move on to the behavior and correctness. So requirements. So whenever the product is developed, let us consider that whenever the whether it may be the hardware product or the software product is developed or designed, so how they are designed in response to the user requirements or user specifications, right? So what the software development team will do, that you already studied in the software engineering, right? Yeah, the software development life cycle, right? You studied the waterfall model, right? So what happens there? There are the different stages for the software development. So first one is the requirement collection, next one is requirement specification, and after that designing the product, and finally developing the product. Once the product is developed, then it is tested according to the given requirements, right? So before the system design or the development starts, first we need to collect the requirements from the users. So hence the product, whether it may be the hardware product or the software product, which is developed according to the user requirements, the products or the software products are designed and developed in response to the requirements. Then what are those requirements? So requirements are nothing but the functions that a product is expected to perform. So what are the requirements? The requirements are nothing but the functions that a product is expected to perform. So as I explained earlier, that so if you consider the mobile, what I want in the mobile, I want to perform some task. That is my specification. I'll give a specification or the requirement. According to that, it must work. See, if not, we'll say that if the developed product is not meeting my requirements. Understood? So the product is developed according to the user requirement or user specifications. Now we'll consider the example. So here we are considering what are the requirements. Requirements are nothing but the functions that a product is expected to perform, right? So here I will specify two requirements, and we'll see how based on the requirements we will have different programs, right? My first requirement is, okay, I have to give two integer numbers. When I enter the two integer numbers, then it must display the maximum of those two numbers. Suppose if I enter the two numbers as 2 and 5, then what it has to display? Gaurav? Gaurav Kote. Here, my requirement is to find the maximum of two numbers. I'll give the number as
Yes, ma'am.
ಎಲ್ಲೋಗಿದ್ರಿ ಇಷ್ಟೋ ತನಕ ಇವಾಗ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ರ
Ma'am?
ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಿ? ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಡ್ಡಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ರಿ? ನಾನು ಅವಾಗಿಂದ ನಿಮ್ನೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ನೀವೇನು ಆನ್ಸರೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ಇದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್
ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪನೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ? So here my requirement is I'm entering two integer numbers, right? And I have to get the maximum of two numbers. If I enter the number as 2 and 5, what is the maximum number I want? Or what is the maximum number your program should display? Maximum of two numbers. What is maximum? So we are comparing which one is smaller and which one is larger. So the larger number will be displayed as the maximum. Right. If I enter the two integer numbers are 2 and 5, then which one is the maximum number? It will display it as 5. That is my requirement. Understood? So suppose here I have my requirement is I have here to write the program that should input two integer numbers and to display the maximum number. So two integer numbers. So what if I give this requirement? What you people will do? You write the program and you assume that the user will give the positive integer numbers, and you have written the program according to that. So if I enter 2 and 5 or 4 and 6, so obviously it will give the correct output. Suppose if I enter the number as -2 and -5, what happens? Whether your program will give the input output or not? Yes, Sharanya, whether your program will give the output? Yes, Suraj.
Yes, ma'am.
It will give the output. Why? Because that also treated as a integer number, right? So if we give the integer numbers, what is the integer number range here for your computer? What is the given integer number range? The integer numbers are ranging from minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. So if we give the numbers within that range, obviously your program will give the output, right? So in a program, how you write the getting the input with the help of the scanf statement? You are giving the input to the program, right? So how we are entering the two integer numbers? I'll enter the two integer numbers as 4 space 6. 4 space 6. So I enter the two integer number. I will get the output, right? So but after some time, my requirement changes. So what will be the my requirement? I want to enter the two inputs in two different lines, not in a single line. Initially, what I am going to do, I enter two numbers by giving the space, right? 2 space 5, then I'll get the output. But next, what I want is I want to enter the two input integer numbers in two different lines. So first I will enter 2, then I will press the enter key, then I will enter the second number. What happens there? My requirement is changed. Next we have to check whether even though my requirement is changed, whether your program is supporting that requirement or not. Okay, so as I said, based on the user requirement, you need to modify the developed program or the developed product. Right. But as the requirements are changing again and again and again, it is very difficult for the developers to develop the product according to the requirements. Right. And hence, before the developers start developing the product, the specifications or the requirements should be finalized. Once the requirements are finalized or the specifications are finalized, then only they can move to the development phase. Understood? Any doubt? Clear for requirement 1? Okay, next we'll move on to the second requirement. My second requirement is I want you people to write a program to arrange the numbers either in the ascending order or in the descending order. I will not specify that. Okay, I'll not specify whether it is ascending or descending. Simply, I'll ask that you, whenever I'll give the number, you sort those numbers. Then what happens to that requirement? It is an ambiguous requirement, right? Because I have not specified whether you have to sort the numbers in the ascending order or in the descending order. Clear? Understood? So if the requirements are in the ambiguous nature, then it is very difficult to develop the product. And hence, before moving on to the development of the product, you need to solve the ambiguity of the requirement. Okay, all the requirements should be unambiguous in nature. Unambiguous in nature means unique. There should not be a confusion in the requirements. Then only we can develop the correct product. So, yes, depending on the user's requirements, the development phases changes, and that should not happen. Hence, before the product development starts, the requirements should be finalized, and the requirement should be in a unambiguous nature. Means there should not be a confusion in the requirements specified, and the requirement should be complete requirements. Okay, the requirements should be a complete requirements. If incomplete requirements are there, then those requirements cannot be satisfied. Hence, before the development team starts their work, they have to finalize whether the requirements are the complete requirements, correct requirements, and unambiguous requirements. So if there is a ambiguity in the requirements, then you need to solve you need to solve that ambiguity before the product development starts. So this is about the requirements. So then what is a behavior? So behavior, as I said, it is the functionality of the developed product that we'll see in detail in the next case. So here we have defined the requirements. So according to the requirements, so as I said, the requirements are complete requirements and the incomplete requirements. So when the incomplete requirement, so here the same example they have considered requirement 1. Suppose the program Max is developed to satisfy the requirement 1. The expected output of Max when the input numbers given as 13 and 19, obviously the maximum number is the 19. Suppose as I said here, instead of giving the two numbers by using a space, if I enter it in two different lines, then the requirement changes. So then what happens there? If I entering that, then my requirement is not complete, because here in the requirement 1, I have not clearly specified that how I enter the integer numbers, or how I give the inputs to the program, that I have not specified here, right? And such type of requirements are said to be incomplete requirements, or the requirements are incomplete. And if the requirements are incomplete, then the product development is not easier. Next, as I said, the requirements ambiguity. So the behavior here, this is the ambiguity for the second requirement. Here, what is my second requirement? I need to sort the given sequence of numbers, but I have not specified whether it is the whether it is in the ascending order or descending order. So here the ambiguity arises. So we need to minimize or solve the ambiguity before moving on to the product development. So because the requirement 2 is ambiguous, here it is not clear that whether the number is or the given numbers are to be arranged in the ascending or descending order. This is the ambiguity requirement. So hence before the product development starts, the requirement should be unambiguous requirements, and all the requirements should be in a complete in nature. Then only the product development is easier. Next, shall I continue or shall I continue in the next class? Is it okay? Next class is the enemy.
Ma'am, lab ಇದೆ ma'am.
Okay. Hangare saka next class ಅಲ್ಲಿ start ಮಾಡೋಣ.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Understood all of you what are the static and the dynamic quality attributes and requirements. So in the next class, I'm going to cover the input domain, specifying the behavior and the correctness. Correctness I already explained, right? So in the next class, you're going to study about the
Yes, ma'am.
input domain and the behavior. Any doubt in this?
No,
Any
ma'am.
doubt?
No, ma'am.
No doubt. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ
No.
ಆಯ್ತಾ?
Yes, ma'am.
ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಗೌರವ್, ರಾಘವೇಂದ್ರ, ಸಚಿನ್,
Yes, ma'am.